Thank you all for coming today. The evaluation portion of a Toastmasters meeting is one of the key, thank you, for Toastmasters, it's one of the key benefits that we receive from the club. Is that evaluation, whether we're receiving a formal evaluation, as Scott is doing for me today, where he's filling out a specific evaluation for my speech, or whether you're filling out one of our Toastmasters evaluation forms, which I'll grab from the back, are specific to the Floor Communicators Club. You are providing feedback that is essential for growth for the individual. Your light's on. Can you turn the light off? Your green light. No worries. I'm looking for that to know when I'm about to be done. So evaluations are a fundament in growth. We are going to use them to build our next speech. Every time you receive a package of evaluations, you should be reviewing them to see a common goal, to see maybe something you can work on for your next speech. Because throughout all of them, you're going to gain some kind of information. So whether it's your formal evaluator or it's one of your club fellows, do take them seriously. Take a chance to review them before your next speech. Evaluate to motivate is part of obviously the Successful Club series. And it really is going to overview the benefits that we see in evaluations. The first one, as I was mentioning, it's immediate feedback. You get it that meeting. So your formal evaluator is giving you feedback moments after you've finished your speech, which is really, really handy. So it's timely. They are giving you feedback that really speaks to what they saw that meeting. One thing to remember with evaluations is you're always offering that kind of improvement suggestion. You're not just telling people what they did well, you're also finding for them something to build on. You want to give them an understanding of how they can make their speeches better, because that's really what we're all looking for. And one of the key things that we do not want an evaluation to do is to have a Toastmaster leave the club. We would never want them to walk away from a club after an evaluation that they thought was demeaning and ruined their self-esteem in the club, embarrassed them. We would never want to send somebody away from the club with that kind of ill feeling. So it's our job as an evaluator to remain positive, in that way positively criticize if necessary, but always constructively, and to assist people to get better. We're using a tell and sell, which means I'm telling you, there isn't a conversation really during the evaluation. I'm telling you what's going on, and then I'm selling it to you. I want you to believe why my suggestions are worth taking advantage of. In that way, it makes your portion of the meeting finite. One of the things to remember as an evaluator, you have 3 minutes to get your point across. Our evaluations are from, I think it's 2 to 3 minutes is when we get the green light. In evaluation competitions, you have 30 seconds after 3 minutes to complete your evaluation before your time is ruled as overtime and you are excluded from the competition. So something to think about. 3 minutes is not a lot of time. You want to be succinct. You want to get your points across, and you don't really need to look for any kind of validation from either the audience or the person you're speaking to. You do really have to have good things to say quickly. One of the great ways to make your presentations effective is to talk with the speaker beforehand. You want to know, first of all, whether they understood the objectives, the guidelines for evaluation, which should also be reviewed by speakers. And I like this, any concerns. The biggest thing that people can bring forward to their evaluator is a need to maybe pinpoint some of those ideas that's been in the back of their head. Things they've seen as a trend across their informal evaluations, they want their formal evaluator to look at. They're doing a lot of hand clasping. They're using strange hand gesticulations for no reason. Because they're trying to reduce those themselves, they want you to evaluate whether it's effective. During the speech, it's hard. It is so hard. But try to keep your head up. Try. Keep mental notes. If you have to, jot down point form, key words, phrases that the person has used quickly. You will have time to come back to their evaluation in both your extra minute for evaluation that the Toastmaster will give you, and, thank you, and you'll have that time through, hopefully the back half of the meeting, you'll have a little bit of extra time to get your thoughts together around your point form. So get used to doing outlines quick. Because the worst thing you can do, and it's as much as you're trying to listen and pay attention, is to have your head down scribbling on the page because you're missing so much of what's going on in body language and presentation that really should also be evaluated. So don't think that just what they're saying is what you need to be paying attention to. And this is something we can do as an audience generally. And as an audience at Toastmasters, you are required to be, if you can, an evaluator. Always put yourself in the position of the speaker. Realize that even though I come across as slightly using a little too much bravado, it's a means by which that I use to get over my nervousness. So you can look at that, you can evaluate that. You can't always do it with your head down, but always put yourself in the place of the speaker, because we're all there. We all go there. That's the job here. We come up to the front of the stage to open ourselves up to the group, because we trust the group. During the speech, as I mentioned, take notes, make them as quick as possible. During your evaluation, choosing your words carefully is great. Words are power. Words have the ability to express a lot of different things. But use them carefully. Don't use your words to obfuscate what you're trying to say, to confuse what you're trying to say. Use your words positively. Try and reduce negative words that could potentially be in your vocabulary. And really look for those strengthening words that are going to build self-esteem. This is really key. I love the fact that you would want to evaluate the speech and not the person. I mean, what judgment can we make of a person? We're there to look at the manual that the person is working from and the speech that they apply to it, the work that they've done to meet the objectives and the guidelines. We're not there to evaluate how they dressed that day. We're not there to discuss potentially their viewpoints on the subject. We are there for the speech and to help them build their speech craft. Now, one thing that I say as a caveat to this, is that sometimes some of our evaluations are meant to evaluate the way the person moves, because we do have those projects where we're looking at body language, because it is a key component of good speeches. So in that way, I think you have to there's a fine line there where body language is really getting across the point of a project, and you're speaking to their ability to use their body. Again, promoting self-esteem. I think our club is terrific for this. I haven't seen an issue with this. We have had evaluators in our club I think it was 8 years ago, who did cause concern to the point where our management rep spoke to department managers about commentary from an evaluation in Toastmasters. So it was within FLUR, and it was deemed as on the edge of inappropriate. It was a harsh commentary, from what I understand. We don't want to do that. I want positive and constructive evaluations for everyone, so that self-esteem is there, but we also still have building blocks. You can't pander to making someone feel good and really not give them anything to build on, as far as I'm concerned. An evaluation should do both. Avoid being disingenuous. Again, something I haven't run into with our club. I think we have some really, really genuine, caring people within the club who are upbeat without seeming saccharine. You know what I mean? They don't really fill their evaluations with sugary praise. We give you a little bit of sugar and we give you a little bit of lemon. But you get both and you learn from that. So always think of your suggestions as a means to help someone, to help a colleague get better at what they do. this is key to everything we do. One of the things to think about with an evaluation is that you're still giving a speech. There's a component of speechcraft within those 3 minutes that you have to build an evaluation for someone. You should have an opening. You want to grab the audience attention when you come up to the stage. So you should have an idea, a framework for how you're going to put your evaluation together. Even if you're sticking to the format that comes with our booklets, you should have the ability to think immediately, okay, what's my intro? How am I going to close this out? Am I going to tie them together? Summarize your key points. That's easy. You've gone through point form. You've put all the information down quickly. That stuff is great. Like key phrases, key words that came up in the speech, you can use that to speak to because it's fresh in your mind. Don't feel like you have to have everything written down. Use a point form structure, a nice outline. It'll help you move faster, I think, without having a lot of words to try and read through your scrawl. You can associate it with a personal story. Again, it's the ability to find that common ground with the speaker and share something. But still being constructive in 3 minutes and trying to help that Toastmaster learn something about their speechcraft. Always encourage the listeners to apply what they heard and what they learned. I think our forum right now is quite terrific in that we give us, all of the evaluators, a choice of how they'd like to lay out their evaluations. But there are really key things that you're going to be looking for. When you're doing your evaluation, you want to look. You want to be able to see what's happening on the stage. And again, it's not the minutia of the person, it's the way that they're using their body to tell their story. As I heard you, there's a lot going on there, right? You're listening for turns of phrase, really interesting words. You're listening to pitch, tone, volume. It's all these things that you need to just listen to. And I think we have a few evaluators who are sneaky. They'll move right to the back of the room. And I like that because it speaks to your understanding of potentially the acoustics in a room. So you go back there, and if you've met with the speaker beforehand, you can make sure that they understand that they have to project to you so that their volume is elevated. And again, evaluation is personal. You're really speaking to how it affected you. And that's the last portion of our forum that I really liked, how I reacted to the speech. Did it make me feel comfortable? Did it make me squirm at all the right places? Was it an uncomfortable story and it was meant to be? So give those kinds of feedbacks. Did they meet their objective? It's one of the key components. And I think with evaluations in our club, one of the things we could comment on that we don't enough is potentially overtime. So if someone's gone overtime, make a commentary about it. That it is an important objective. That 4 to 7 minutes that we have for our projects, project 10 is a little bit longer, go up to 10 minutes. Let them know that they've met the criteria as far as time is concerned as well. That's one of the things that your evaluation should be speaking to. And with that, I think I've given you some points to hopefully do better evaluations. And again, that's a personal feeling. You always want to be improving with your evaluations. You always want to be able to find that nugget of truth and show it to the speaker. So thank you very much for coming today. I hope you learned a little bit about